Is this thing on? We're on the record.
Hi, I'm Annaliese Baker, and welcome back to On the Record, a podcast about all things music. Don't worry, everything's on the record. If you're like, why should I trust this random girl about music? I don't know her. She's on the internet, like everyone else, yapping. Hi, I do music journalism for a living. I recently had the pleasure of interviewing Sophia Galaté, a jazz and R&B artist by proxy from Chicago, and she came back recently for her Lincoln Hall show, so I spoke with her at the show. But before we get into the interview, I just want to recap some things from the last episode. I had a lovely conversation with Sophia. She also attended Lollapalooza. It's part of the reason she was in town. It was right before her show at Lincoln Hall. Phenomenal vocalist. That show was truly just a combination of just the most amazing vocals I've ever heard. I wish I wasn't using that word so much. I do think it's really important to currently have people who are strong vocalists in the industry. I feel like at a live show, you really get the opportunity to showcase your vocals and hear fun riffs and songs you normally don't do. An artist that I love that does this is Maggie Rogers. I'm biased. I have a tattoo of her lyrics, as I've talked about before. It's really cool to witness in real time, but Sophia is someone that you can hear when you're listening to the actual recording of the track on like Spotify or Apple Music. I use Spotify, just to clarify, but you can really hear her intense, profound vocals, and I think that's really impressive. It just kind of carries across the board. I recently went to my first concert alone, and this sort of shifted my perspective on the way crowds are perceived or behave just in general. Concert etiquette at Lollapalooza is something a lot of people hopped on the internet and talked about. I'd been hesitant to because I think I was kind of spitballing and running in circles. The group I was with can definitely attest to this. You get the point. I don't think it's proper etiquette, especially if you're not actually a fan of the people on that stage throughout the whole day. It'll work out great, I guess, if you love like the 4 artists before the person, but imagine you're the artist standing on stage and looking at all the people in the first rows and they aren't singing along or dancing. In fact, they're sitting. And I saw a lot of that, especially at Role Model. I think that was a consensus for me, is that concert etiquette is totally in the drain. This is something a lot of other music journalists talk about, especially at festivals or at shows with artists who kind of blew up in the age of TikTok, especially post-pandemic, who have a couple really viral songs and then their fans will camp out at like 4 a.m. There were people camping out at the gate to get into Lollapalooza this year. What the fuck? What the fuck was that? And I mean that from the bottom of my heart, because I have never seen that before at the festival. People were like vlogging like, oh, 4 a.m. barricade for Gracie, but it was like barricading the gate where you scan your wristband to get in. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? I can't ever justify that. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. I felt miserable showing up at like noon every day. I posted a Lollapalooza dump from my grave. I feel like I've been perpetually sick for like 3 weeks now. I digress. I left Lollapalooza this year being like, okay, I love festivals, but I think I'm at an age where I like to hang out in the back, have a drink, or like have room to dance at the very least with my friends. You know, because people hate dancing now. What's that about? Even when you go to like the bar, no one wants to dance. It doesn't make any sense. Are people embarrassed? I do think there's a level of people being afraid of being posted online for being themselves. There's this facade where you're like, oh, I need to kind of move in this certain way in case there's a camera on me, because I think people always have a fear of a camera on them. My day job is in social media, so I think I have less of a fear because I know a camera's always on me. That's just not me. I think it requires more thought than I'd like to give it on my day-to-day. But yeah, I think at Lollapalooza I left being like, okay, I hated so many of those crowds, and I used to not be like that. I used to love a mosh pit. I still do. I went to the Dare after show the Wednesday before the festival. It was amazing, and you could pinpoint everyone in the crowd who like had their phone out to record him, because there were about 5 people at a time. But most people were there to dance and sing along, and it was one of the best concerts I've ever been to, which brings me to the Rose Gray concert. Rose Gray recently had a show at Sleeping Village. It's in Avondale, Irving Park, Logan Square. It's up north in Chicago. I'd never been to the venue before. I know it's kind of new. I think it opened when I was in college, so I was already living in Boston at the time. That's where I went to school. And when I came back, I kind of had heard like the Dare I Know had a show there. Very similar size to the venue he played in Boston at the time. It fits like, if I had to guess, maybe 100, 200 people. Maybe not even. It's really small, but it's really pretty. The front is this bar space, and then they have a patio. And then there's the concert venue in the back. And I think it is so much fun. And that show, honestly, having a few days to sit with it changed my perspective, especially going alone, of crowd etiquette. I do think it's dependent on the artist more than it is the circumstance, if that makes any sense, of like where they're playing, what it is. I think certain crowds are worse than others. I think a festival is a little bit different, but I've been to shows as of late where there are people who have been like camping out and they skip work or class or whatever it was to go wait in line for this festival. And I think that's extreme. I wouldn't even do that for Maggie Rogers. I camped out the hour, but that's the most you'll ever get of me. I show up an hour before doors, and if I'm in the back of the venue, then I have to live with that. But I'm not going to spend a whole day, you know, sitting outside in treacherous weather, whether that is nice sun or sleet. I've done both. It sucks. The dare was sleet a little bit. Though, going to the Rose Gray show alone, I showed up, I think 15-20 minutes after doors opened, and I walked literally right to the front of the stage. And I had time to buy a drink, go to the stage, go to the bathroom after that first drink, and then buy a second drink and go back to the stage. And there still was space to stand literally at the foot of the stage. Going to the Rose Gray show alone really helped me kind of realize and perceive that it's based on the fans, I think. You know, it's not necessarily venue, or I think time and place festivals are a little bit different, though. I really do think it is the fans and how the fans interact with each other and the artists and that level of parasocial that goes into it. I also think the age of the fans matters. I know these are probably all pretty obvious things that you're like, yeah, duh, of course, if there's like teenage girl fans who think that he's gonna fall in love and it's a One Direction situation where you shave your whole body before you go. Very few artists you do that for. Everyone has one or two. That being said, there's that element in how parasocial fans are willing to be. Like someone like Taylor Swift is engaging frequently in that parasocial aspect. And I'm a Swiftie through and through. I'm so excited for Life of a Showgirl, but she does really promote that parasocial aspect with her fans. And I think since the Eras tour, she sort of dialed it back a little bit. And she was talking recently on the New Heights podcast, from the parts I've watched or listened to so far, is that she doesn't do Easter eggs for her personal life. And I think her putting those boundaries in place, or like saying them now, even though we all, some of us older Swifties at least, kind of suspected that, actually verbalizing those things is really, really important to kind of put that boundary. I think there are some artists I won't name that don't do a great job of that now and really encourage it, and it makes for these unsafe concert environments. And going to the Rose Gray show alone, I was kind of just able to people watch for hours. I really need to take a breath. I have to learn to not yap. Well, that's what podcasting is. Anyways, I think one of the biggest things I discovered at Lollapalooza and then going to this Rose Gray show alone, especially at a smaller venue, is fans can be normal still, which gave me a little bit of hope. I can't lie. I had no issues, and no one gave me a hard time, and all the fans were so excited to talk, and no one felt claustrophobic. I was right in the front row, surrounded by this like group of friends, and they were so welcoming. No one like shoved me, pushed me. We were all dancing. It's an EDM dance pop show. You should dance. But no one was to the point where like shoulder to shoulder. Someone taller than me at Lollapalooza, I remember, in one of the crowds, her chest came up right to my head essentially, and she pushed kind of over my head to get a video of something, and then her chest pushed right into the back of my head, and I was like, this feels so wrong for so many different reasons. And I don't know how she wasn't like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. Like, if that happened to me, I'd be like, oh my god, I can't believe I ran into you like that. Maybe that's me. And I get you're like packed in like sardines and bodies, but there's, again, a time and a place to do those things and behave in that way. And I think more people just need to enjoy the music and the concert. And the fact that Rose Gray is a smaller artist, I think definitely helps in some way. But I also think I looked in that crowd. It was 21 and up, which was great. So it does make it easier to kind of control the fan base a little bit. And I think people who can legally drink and mostly have a frontal lobe are better about being parasocial with the celebrities they idolize. However, I do find it compelling and very telling of today's concert state that like not all hope is lost, and there are people who enjoy music, because the people were there to really see Rose Gray, see her live, and she's at a stage where it's sort of this like scarcity thing, at least in America, I think, because she's from the UK, she's based there, so this is her first American headline tour. She just opened for Kesha. She's fantastic. I've been a fan of her for like a year now, and I've always wanted to see her live, and now that I finally did, it just feels so surreal because I'm not in London often. I am wearing an Arsenal jersey I bought there, but it was just so sick seeing how many fans she pulled in Chicago. The show sold out like right when tickets dropped. I happened to be on a wait list. I love Dice. That is one of my favorite ticketing platforms, so my first time really using them and committing to it, and I was on this wait list. I put myself on it as soon as tickets sold out, and then I got off at like less than 24 hours before the show, pretty late, like Tuesday night. I think the show was on Wednesday, and I bought the ticket, reasonable price, no fees, no competitive sellers. I forget what that term actually is now, but where like if everyone's in the queue in Ticketmaster trying to buy Sabrina Carpenter tickets, the ticket prices will just go up and up and up to try and see how much you're willing to spend because of this level of scarcity. Yeah, loved the Rose Gray show though, because no one was there to like be crazy about her, but I think it was interesting because after the show, and she posted on Instagram, I guess is how people found out, and someone told me, and I was like, oh, I'd love to chat with her because I wrote an article shortlisting Louder Please as an album of the year, and I think it's totally an album of the year contender, at least in my opinion. It's such a good pop album, and it's such a good dance album, and it really uplifts the genre with the sort of new wave sound, but the sort of lyricism that Charlie XCX has in her early days. I digress. Go listen to Louder Please and Rose Gray's other stuff. But she met fans after the show, and people waited, and everyone was respectful. She hugged all of them, took photos. She took her time with talking to people, and no one was weird about it. And I think every time I've seen videos of meet and greets, this becomes this like social media obsession, and Rose Gray really interacts with her fans. I am on the cover photo of her like Chicago recap post, screaming my head off in the front row while she like poses after the show, like right after the last song. And I reposted it and was like, yeah, this is my I made it moment, by the way. And she liked it. I don't find her parasocial. I find her just someone who interacts with her fans because she's genuinely happy to be a musician. And I think it's fine to have that sense of humor. I even fall victim to this with other artists of commenting on their posts kind of like they're old friends. But I do think there's an element that needs to stop because when that carries into the live show or people who don't understand, there's a boundary of like commenting something funny on a celebrity's Instagram and then talking to them like if they're your best friend at a live show or like at a meet and greet. They need to be stopped. I wish I had a more coherent thought. It's been a long day, guys. It's been a long day, long work week. Because I do have a day job, believe it or not. I don't podcast full time. And then right after Lollapalooza, I went to Lincoln Hall, literally like 3 days after it ended. Not even. No, I think Lollapalooza ended on August 3rd, and I went to the Sophia Galaté show on August 5th. Quick turnaround. I was like, I'm gonna have a chill week. That did not happen. But before Rose Gray, the concert I went to was Sophia's show at Lincoln Hall, and my God, it was phenomenal. It was such a breath of fresh air coming off of Lollapalooza. I was so high-strung. So getting to kind of have this like chiller moment talking to an artist and like with a normal crowd was really, really nice. Last time I went to Lincoln Hall was on a date. We're not seeing each other anymore. Yeah, he invited me to his Skeggs concert for a second date. Believe it or not, we made it to many more dates after that, but bold choice. Skeggs was lovely, but weird second date environment. Lincoln Hall's a cool venue. It did feel like returning to the scene of the crime a little bit when I went to Sophia's show, but I had an awesome time. I've never shot that venue before. I did some photography. I'm writing a feature in Atwood for it. I am staffed there if you were curious and ever wanted to read my work and say, hey, does this girl really do music journalism or does she just say that? Because I don't know how many people click links. People are lazy. That's my job to know that because I work in social media. I took some photos of the show, which was so awesome. I work in social media. I don't know how many people click links, but I do write for Atwood Magazine, amongst many others. But in case you wanted a fact check if I was a real music journalist, I am. I've also written for other places, but that's the main one right now. I shot the show. Never shot Lincoln Hall. I loved it so much. Really chill crowd. People like let me pass. I also think I get a pass as a photographer because I'm short. I hate to do the move though where I like hold my camera up through the crowd and make people move. I feel like such an asshole. But sometimes you're there to do a fucking job and people need to move. I also am not going to stand, especially if I don't actually like know the artist that well. I'm not going to plant myself at the bottom of the stage and like block someone's view and be like, no, I'm here now. You paid to see the show. I didn't. I deserve this spot. I don't. Fucking move. If you do that as a photographer, even artists I've shot that I'm a huge fan of, like Valley. I was barricade, but I stood at like the edge of the photo pit so I could run in and take a photo, but then also stand off to the side and like sing along. I did like Lincoln Hall a lot though this time around. I brought my brother to the show to help me assist with the podcast recording, but also because who doesn't like having a +1 to a show? Welcome back to On the Record, a podcast about all things music. Don't worry, everything is on the record.
Welcome to On the Record. I am with Sophia Galaté.
Hello.
I pronounced your name correct,
Yes,
right? Okay,
great
awesome.
job.
Thanks.
Get it
I
wrong.
did some research.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very pretty. Is it French?
Thank you. Sicilian.
Oh, okay.
Interesting. Latte. I guess latte.
I don't know where
Sicilian.
latte started.
Yeah.
That's my truth.
Really good.
Awesome. Okay, so the podcast is called On the Record, and what I like to have my guests do is say something that's on their record, what's on their mind, anything music related. It can be a viral moment, a specific song. I know you
About
would.
myself?
Yes, anything that's in your music world.
I mean, I feel like I'm very overwhelmed with all the music things that I'm working on, but it's all exciting. I have lots of new music coming out. I guess I can, I'm working on a project.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say what it is or anything yet, but it's coming soon.
Keep people guessing.
Yeah, so
Love it.
I'm just making content and working on my rollout. It's my everything in my mind right now.
That's perfect. Yeah, I have to say on my record is Lollapalooza.
I went to Lolla too.
I heard. How was your experience?
Well, I just want everyone to know that I'm a Lollapalooza veteran. This was my 16th year in a row.
bow down to you, truly. That's impressive.
And also it's like, obviously now as I'm older, and I used to go, like I would fly in from California, which is where I'm from, and come when I was in high school, and then I moved here for college, and I would always go, and we would
Wow.
go with, like our friends would fly in, it'd be like 30 of us, and now I just still come in because it's a tradition for me, and also like it's part of my like manifesting of me, performing at Lollapalooza one day.
Yes.
So it's,
You could be part of it.
I've been planning my Lollapalooza set for like 10 years.
I love that.
I mean, it was so I knew that I had a show a couple days after Lolla, so I didn't really go too crazy. But I love Lolla. It's intense though.
It is. It's definitely changed since I think I've been going like pre-pandemic, and going this year I was like,
And they
whoa.
oversell by like 30,000.
Oh, exactly. And there's bodies everywhere. It's hot. I felt old going. I think I feel like I've aged out.
I feel like there's a demo. There's like, it's mostly kids obviously, but there's like a lot of
Yeah.
ages.
People in the back of the set with their like beer, just
Yeah.
kind of vibing, swaying
Yeah.
a little bit. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
this is my crowd.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So kind of moving forward into like live music in Chicago, you've talked a lot about it. You said on stage that you feel like this is your home away from home a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
I pretend like I'm from here.
No, I love it. I mean, where are you from in LA?
I grew up in Malibu.
Oh, okay.
Fully opposite of here.
Yeah, I was going to say the
Um,
winters must have been harsh.
Yeah, it's just like it's a chill place, no city vibe at all.
Okay, gotcha. So love Chicago, and then you went to Loyola for school,
Yes.
right? Awesome. So can you talk a little bit about your music experience at Loyola and coming to Chicago? I heard in other interviews you've like touched on kind of discovering jazz and
Mhm.
R&B in the city and here, and there's such a rich history.
Yes. So I feel like I already like loved soul and R&B before I came here, but when I went, Loyola has a really small music program, but I did
Mhm.
study jazz there, and
Oh, wow.
and it's interesting. It's like even though I studied music at that time, I always wanted to be an artist. But when I moved here to like a big city, I got really fearful of pursuing artistry. So I actually didn't really sing out that much in college. But I would go to the jazz clubs, and also that time in Chicago was like when Chance was popping,
Coming up,
like,
yeah.
Hearing What came out and everything. So
That's like arguably the best
city,
album.
like, the music was thriving in Chicago in a way that I don't feel like it is like currently. It was just like it was the moment then. Everyone was like on their come up. So I feel like I was so inspired at the time. And yeah, I love jazz. It's super influential in my music. I feel like I really took advantage of the city in exploring it. I wasn't that active in the
Mhm.
music scene because I wasn't singing, but
Yeah, that's so sick. What kind of venues were you like going to see jazz shows at, or where were you kind of consuming jazz?
I would go to Andy's a lot. They used to have a jam session on Sundays, and I would
Amazing.
sometimes sing the same jazz standard every time. I would always sing Stormy Weather every time. I'm like, it's the only jazz song I feel comfortable singing, so I would always sing that.
Was this like your freshman year of college? you
No,
were
this
doing
was toward the end.
Okay, gotcha.
Because I actually struggled for a while thinking that I was like going to leave the music program and all these things.
Yeah, it's a bit overwhelming. I can imagine, like, being to a new city, being young.
And, like, when you're young and you, like, want to pursue something like this, you think people are going to, like, judge you, and it's, like, the hardest thing to pursue. So all of that fear came over me, so I kind of wanted to just pretend that it was a hobby.
Yeah.
No one ever, like, judged me. It was all the judgment that I placed on myself. But, yeah, like, all the, like, in, like, the Green Mill, like, all the, like,
classic
standards.
Yeah, did you ever go to Jazz Showcase in South Loop? Yes. Oh my gosh. My brother behind the camera took me for my birthday.
Nice.
It's a family classic. Yes. It's such a great venue. And Green Mill, I mean, historic.
I have a vision. So it's interesting because the jazz clubs here are super, super traditional. Yeah. Which I feel like now that I'm way more well versed in jazz in other cities, I'm like, I have a different, I don't know, like I've just gotten into jazz from different places now, but I have a dream. One day I want to do like a specific just jazz show at the Green Mill. I have like, they're really difficult to get in there because it has to be jazz. But I have a vision. Also, I have a song called Chicago. It's on my first EP.
It's really good.
It's a jazz song. So I have a vision of doing a show at the Green Mill. This can literally be in 10 years from now. Like, I don't even really care. Like, it doesn't have to be that soon. And it's going to be in like the middle of February. It's going to be snowstorming outside for my jazz show at the Green Mill. And we're all going to dress up like it's the 20s with like our little fur thing. And it's like, and we're going to like film it like it's a movie. It's going to be amazing.
Oh my God. Please invite me. That is, I'm going to publicize this that sounds amazing. Yeah. And the Green Mill's a beautiful space and just like, amazing. Yeah, in February, I would love to hear that. And I think that really fits sort of with what you just did on stage of like those intimate moments. Obviously you move around a bit, you're kind of interacting with the crowd during a set, but you were sitting on the stool and I feel like I have some photos of you just like really capturing the audience.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I feel like kind of what I said at the beginning of the set, I was like, I have a mood for everyone. Like set doesn't, I think a lot of artists like stay in the same vibe. I feel like my first EP, it stayed in the same vibe, but now like I'm funny, like on stage, I like talk so much, like, and it's so funny because I feel like I dress like elegant and like serious. I try to wear like hot pink now.
No, I love it.
I used to wear a little like maybe light pink or like black, but now I'm like, no, people need to know that I'm funny. And but I really feel like those ballad moments are like my best moments. Even though I love the fun records, I need those as well. But yeah,
those are fun to dance to. But yeah, it's just like I feel like it's been a really long time since I've seen a show, at least like post-pandemic, of people sitting without their phones at a show and just enjoying the music. And it was so awesome to kind of see that at your set. Yeah, so you just absolutely crushed. And kind of moving forward with sort of your influences and your music history, I read in an interview from a couple years ago, you said you don't feel 100% R&B, but you often get put in that category.
Yeah, I feel like, so it's funny, I feel like from my first, well, I want to ask you, like, what genre did that set feel like to you?
I was going to say it feels like a little jazz, a little R&B, but honestly, like, listening to your music, at least, like, leading up to the show and kind of prepping for this interview, I do feel like there's a little bit of catchy pop melodies in there, which I really appreciate hearing because jazz is a genre that's always evolving, I think, and that's what makes it so interesting.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people who don't actually know what jazz is used to pigeonhole me into jazz because when you would go to I have done a lot of shows with jazz players, especially in like jazz-looking type venues.
The very traditional band, kind of.
But like my music isn't jazz, but sometimes the chord changes. Like sometimes the way that the players play it sounds like that. And I love jazz. I feel like I also don't feel like it's R&B because it sounds like R&B from like the 90s.
Yeah.
Like when it was more live. In terms of like R&B beats that are current, I don't feel like it's that.
Feels like that true. Yeah.
A little bit more soul, but then when I sing my ballads, those to me are like my singer-songwriter Adele moments. So and obviously Adele is rooted in soul, but those feel, I guess if you want to say pop to me, the new unreleased song I sang tonight, Please Don't Talk to Me, definitely has that like pop kind of catchiness. I don't really know where to put it.
I don't think it's fair to pigeonhole artists anymore because genres are so fluid. And even what you were saying, like I know in this same interview, I think you mentioned Adele, Etta James, Amy Winehouse as big influences for you. And you can really hear that. Like Adele is pop solely because she is popular,
Yeah.
but she doesn't necessarily make what like a Sabrina Carpenter song,
Yeah,
you know? And I think that it was really interesting in your set of like I could catch myself humming that down the street, but it wouldn't be like a radio like hits one kind of play. I'd hear that. I feel like I could hear that at an intimate club, or I could hear that at an arena, and it would kind of capture that same like energy. So that's really awesome. And you just crushed again.
Thank
I
you.
was in awe of your vocals.
I haven't like had a show in a long time because I'm just working on new music. So but I just like love singing. But I'm like it went by so fast. I'm like, I just miss singing, and I obviously like love talking to the crowd. Yeah. So it's like this is my favorite thing.
That's so important for artists too, to like interact with people at the show, especially
as an opener.
Exactly. You're getting the crowd warmed up, but you're also introducing yourself to a whole new audience. And I think like openers are so important, and I've talked about this so many times in my writing and whatnot, but like go to the opener, go see them, because you're seeing a second show essentially for free. Yeah. You know? Exactly. Yeah, that's sick. Yeah. So speaking of your new music, you know, you're dropping a new song on August 21st. Yes. It's your birthday. Happy birthday. Yeah, it's a birthday gift. Yes. This is the most insane bass I've ever heard.
Is it going to pick up in your microphone?
Probably. Hey, it's fine. So leading up to that, you also released a single, but kind of an EP, right?
So this is an interesting story. The song Room in My World.
Yeah.
So Room in My World, I think I can just kind of, I guess, admit to you that I'm working on an album. And so a couple songs I sang tonight are going to be part of this project. So Room in My World was actually never on the album. Room in My World is not a song I was ever planning to release.
Really?
So I sang a song earlier called My Girls, which was I released at the end of May.
That was a collaboration, right?
Yeah, it features another artist. She like kind of raps on the song. Usually I actually do her rap.
Really?
But I didn't. I just like I shortened the song for this because I just.
It's a very soulful set.
Like I also like only had she like talks on beat. It's sexy, but I only had 30 minutes of a set, so I needed to shorten the song. So actually, my song "Please Don't Talk to Me" that's coming out on August 21st was originally planned to come out on August 1st. "Room in My World" is a song that I wrote like a year and a half ago. I've always loved "Room in My World." I wrote that song in like an hour. Like it was super brief, and I always I've been pitching that song to other artists. I always imagined that "Room in My World"
I feel like I saw this on your TikTok, like snow
I always imagined that "Room in My World" was going to be my first placement as a songwriter. I've been sending it to like pitch for so long, and I listen to the song from time to time. Like it's not like a song that I forgot about. And somebody recently was like, I always get compared to Snow Allegra. So I was like, oh, why didn't I think about Snow? But Snow Allegra actually doesn't take songs from other people.
Really?
But so when I made that video, I made a video on TikTok where I was like, can somebody send this song to Snow Allegra? I wrote it and I really want her to sing it and I think it would be perfect for her. And what's interesting about it didn't go viral, but it got a lot more traction than I normally do. And more than the other music that I've been unreleased music that I've been teasing. I posted it on a Sunday night. I woke up the next day. It had in like 10 hours, it had 1,000 comments of people just telling me to drop it myself. But it only had like 20,000 views. But I still feel like the engagement of people wanting it. Like I've been teasing other songs and like that. I think obviously the way that I marketed it too, being like send this to Snow Allegra, like was catchy.
Yeah.
But so I basically within the next 2 days just decided I was like, I should just release this song. Like, why not give them what they want and get me a little bit more traction to what I'm already building?
Yeah.
So I moved "Please Don't Talk to Me" to August 21st, put out "Room in My World." And so there's this thing in the industry called waterfall releases. Have you ever listened to a single by an artist and then you go to that single and it like, do you use Spotify?
Yeah.
So on Spotify it'll have like the song and like the cover art. Then maybe 2 months later, that same artist released another song, and you go, and then that previous single's listed right under it.
Yes, and it's like
so that's called waterfall release, and in the industry, people do it so that rather than it plays the other song right after, just to get more streams, and rather it going to like another artist. So I decided to waterfall all these songs that I've released in the past 2 years because they're all going to be on my album. So I just waterfall released it, but all these people felt like it was an EP because the "Room in My World" TikTok video brought in so many new fans. So it was really cool because, like, for example, my song Options, that's going to be on my album, Options came out 2 years ago.
I was going to say, because one of the things I had noted was that your EP consists of songs that have come out in like the last 2 years.
All the songs except for Room in My World were old.
Yeah.
So
except Room in My World, right?
Yeah, so that's why it was really like a waterfall release.
Yeah.
But it's just an industry inside thing to do. But all these new people were like, oh my God, we thought you were just releasing Room in My World, and then you gave us all these other songs. So
you have this whole catalog. Yeah.
They felt like I gave them a surprise gift. So, strategy.
Yeah, that worked out in your favor. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, My Girls is a great song, and Options. Like, I do really enjoy that EP. And at first, I had to go back and like look on that first list. I'm like, oh wait, you have had these songs out for a long
they all
time.
Have visuals.
Yeah, that's insane. So, kind of moving forward to your album and like talking a little bit about that. What are your long-term plans for that sort of artistic outlook, whether it be in like the visuals on a potential tour or just like the aesthetic of the album or down to like
the aesthetic
lyrics?
Is if you kind of, I don't know if you saw the visual for My Girls, but it's very like vibrant, fun, kind of retro.
Was that the one that's based off the Anderson .Paak incident? Not incident, but like that's a hilarious story. That's so sick.
Do you want me to tell it?
Please do. That's the smartest marketing, but also a great song.
Yes, and I'm like, I feel like I need to like re-promote that story. So a couple years ago, I went to this music festival. Long story short, we were at Anderson .Paak's set. His tour manager needed like 30 women to go on stage. They asked like 4 of me and 3 of my friends to go up, and one of my friends happens to be a huge Anderson .Paak fan, but she doesn't give a shit about celebrities. Like she's low key when it comes to celebrities. But the whole weekend we were like, maybe we'll run into him. And he had this line of 30 girls, and he would just call different girls up, and they would just come up and like dance, and he would just like cheer them on from the side. Like nobody like touched him. And then we were like, pick my friend, and he calls her, and she decided to literally grind on him so hard. And so there's a lyric in the line, and also this same girl like inspired me to write this song because I was in a place where I'd written a lot of songs about like love and relationships and complications with men, and she was like, write a song for us. About how we're the girls, we have a great time whenever we're around each other, we dance no matter where we are. So that's why the lyric in the song is, no matter where we're at, we're going to throw our ass backstage, floor seats, center stage, or nosebleed. So the center stage part was like about her.
That's so sweet. And also I love it because that's iconic. So also bring back dancing at clubs, and like people are afraid to dance, I feel like, at shows. So yes, anyways, enough about that song. I love
it. Pumping up in here.
I know. So is My Girls going to be in the album?
Yes.
Or okay,
all the songs are going to be on the album.
Okay, so all the songs from the EP.
Yeah,
so
sick. It's so funny. Like, I guess people think it's an EP, but I'm like,
an accidental EP, if you will.
Yeah, I'm like, it is, but all of those are going to be leading up to a bunch more songs that are going to be on it.
That's so sick. Like, you were talking about a little bit about aesthetics for the album.
Like, there's a reason why I always wear pink dresses. You'll find out when my album comes out why I always wear pink dresses, but it's just my thing.
Yeah.
And from my previous era, was a little bit more like my previous EP. Like the cover art is bright orange, but I'm wearing like a long black dress, and my hair I would straighten my hair, and I kind of always had this kind of more like moodier vibe, and I really felt like, and it made sense for all those songs, but I really feel like one of my goals with this new project and new music in general was to make songs that were funny and fun, because I am that.
Yeah.
And wear color, like my hair is naturally curly, so like keep my hair curly so I can have fun with it on stage.
Yes.
And so you'll see a lot of more vibrance. There's obviously those emotional songs as well, but I wanted to be able to play festivals in the future. So like
Lollapalooza.
That's why I made Please Don't Talk to Me, because it's like a fun, catchy song. And so.
Yeah, I was talking to another musician a couple months ago, and she is kind of like little R&B, a little soul, and she was playing a live show for the first time. And I was like, oh, I need a couple like poppy songs. Not that that's my vibe, but just so like I can see people dance and like groove in a different way at a live show. So I think it's really interesting. I don't know if you think about this a lot now, of like being in the studio, writing a song and being like, oh, this can be what you're dancing to at a live show.
Yeah, I try. It's hard to like, sometimes if you think about how it's received, it influences. I feel like for me, like, all my songs are just so authentic. Like they come from a real, true place of like how I was feeling. So when I try to think about like this needs to be commercial, it kind of like ruins the essence of it. But yeah, like that's why like My Girls is fun. Please Don't Talk to Me. We added a lot of like horns and like fun drum fills to like make it feel like that. So
Yeah, it's really fun. I think your whole set, like top to bottom, though, it's just, like I said, already captures the audience in a way that I don't feel like I've seen. Whether it's just you with the microphone on the stool, like everyone was quiet.
I feel like I could literally do just a full piano set.
Please do next time. That would be awesome.
What I want to do is I want to do my big set with the band because it's so fun to me. But I do, in addition to maybe a separate tour, just piano mic tour, because I really feel like those are my best moments.
Yeah, I mean, you've such a powerhouse voice too.
Thank you.
Genuinely impressive. The runs, chef's kiss.
Thank you. I've been practicing.
I was gonna say, you discovered you could sing at 5. I read in an interview.
Something like that.
Like, how did you just sing one day?
Well, I used to make up songs when I was really little. Like, I made up my first song I ever made up was called Ballerina Pink Bunny Rose. And
fitting with the hot pink.
I know. I'm like, I just clocked that. I was in musical theater when I was in elementary school. So
okay.
That's how I started singing. And then once I got into high school, I just stuck to choir.
Gotcha. That's so sick. So in college, it just felt like natural to kind of maybe go to jazz, or how'd you find that shift?
Loyola has a really small music program, and it's kind of only jazz or classical.
Okay.
I didn't actually take piano lessons while I was in college.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, I feel like I just was born in the wrong era, and I'm telling you, all my music taste is the same taste of a 60-year-old.
Green Mill's perfect. Yeah. That's what I'm hearing. That's so sick. Yeah, I'm always curious if you just woke up one day and were like, oh, I guess I can sing.
I was always good in high school, but if I listen to that, I was one of the main singers at my high school.
You stepped forward in the choir, had the solo.
Yeah, I had solos in between the choir songs, you know? But when I look back
was
now,
mouthing the words in the back.
It's when you hear my set now, I don't really belt.
Yeah,
I go up and I have this really high falsetto. When I was younger, I used to belt, but now I'm I sound like I was yelling. So I've learned to re-control it.
So on the album, are you doing a lot of falsetto? Kind of? Do you know yet?
Oh yeah, it's done.
Okay, I wasn't sure. Yeah. No. Do you want to talk about? Do you have general release timeline? Can you tease that at all?
Before the end of the year. But
okay.
Nobody I haven't announced it.
Yeah.
But
a season.
It's so good. I'm so excited for it.
That's
the main
awesome.
song, the title track of the album, is something I'm really excited about. I'm not gonna tell you the name of it, but
yeah,
it's definitely an upgrade of kind of sonically where I've been. So, and it's really fun.
Who produced the album?
A bunch of different people. I oversee and executively produce everything.
I was going to ask, because you started as, and I don't want to keep you for too long, but because you started as a producer, is that true? And a writer?
I worked in touring.
Oh, okay.
As a manager. And then, so I'm really good on the business side of things too.
That's smart. That's good skill to have.
I do everything, so.
Yeah, because I know you started behind the scenes and then shifted. But I just from the Snow Allegra kind of thing, I was like, oh, did you write for a lot of other artists?
I actually am not really much of a songwriter for other people.
Really?
Literally, I'm telling you, Room in My World is just the one song that I had that I was never going to release. Because truthfully, I actually am not, I feel like I'm a singer first, an artist second, and a songwriter third, because I'm kind of really only writing songs if I'm the last time I finished a song was the beginning of the year, and it was the last song I finished for my album, and I haven't really written since then. Written ideas, and everyone has their own opinion about you should be writing all the time, and I'm I'm just not that girl.
You don't need to be either, especially if you're so hands-on in the other aspects. It probably becomes overwhelming to be constantly pressured to produce.
Yeah, and then the songs aren't good if you're right from that place. So.
Yes, exactly. That's awesome. You're executive producing though. That's so sick, especially because you have the control of your vision and you're able to share it how you want.
Everything
That's fantastic. Oh my gosh. Well, anything else you want to kind of share? I know we've talked a lot about the album.
No, I just want everyone in Chicago to follow along because I'm the greatest honorary Chicago artist that you'll know.
Yeah, that's so sick.
I always get written up in Chicago things. I'm
you're Chicago.
I'm Chicago.
We'll claim it.
This tattoo on my wrist, see, it's for Chicago.
You beat me. I got no tattoos from Chicago.
Yeah, I got this when I moved. Yeah.
I got all of mine when I left. That's so sick. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for being
interviewed, and great job with the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was such an honor to interview Sophia Galaté. I love talking to artists that have Chicago ties especially. I mean, that's where I came up in the music scene. That's where I started to care about music. So it's been a really lovely experience kind of reintegrating myself into the Chicago music scene as a music journalist, not just as a music goer, enjoyer. I think it's such a rich city for that. And I came from Boston. That's really where I got my sea legs in music journalism. And there are such great house shows there. There's so many amazing venues. A lot of artists stop there on tours, have some affiliation with the city. My favorite tweet ever is the one that's like listing all the songs about people who hate Boston because of a relationship, i.e. Renee Rapp, Gracie Abrams, Tate McRae. There's so many, and someone retweeted and went, yeah, it's like Atlanta for white people. I really got my sea legs in that Boston music journalism scene, and so when I moved back to Chicago after college and knew I wanted to continue it, making those connections here has been so important to me, especially because so many of the venues I'm going to cover shows at now are ones I spent so much time in as a teenager. And I have such a love for this city and its music because it's turned out so many great artists over time, and I'm so proud to say I'm from here because of its arts community that I feel like doesn't get enough recognition. I think a lot of people in today's industry, especially in music, are under the impression they need to move to LA, New York, but mostly LA to actually pursue their career. And I don't think that's true at all. We have so many great recording studios. Audio Tree is based in Chicago. There's so many great publications. It is a city of creatives. I think you just need to understand where to look for that instead of these mainstream places. Chicago is a very low-key city. I lived in New York. I still go there all the time, especially working in comedy. I have so many friends there. Everyone says that's the low-key city, but I do really think it's Chicago because you could just walk down the street and it has this sort of small town feel. I was at an event today for my other job, and I was just meeting so many people who I was connected to by proxy of someone else, or someone wanted to work in comedy, but we were at a beer festival, and so I said, let me connect you with people at my job in comedy, you know? That's a very specific example. I do think Chicago has that small town feel because you're always being connected with the right people, and it has that Midwestern sense of wanting to help each other. That idea of community is really, really strong here, and I think that really carries over into the music scene. There are publications I've written for that are very local to Chicago, and as soon as I say I'm staff there, people get very excited to be part of that community. And that's such a special feeling to know that you're really part of a family, no matter where you fall into. And everyone wants to help each other out, which I don't think you get in a city like LA especially. It's very competitive from friends who live there and the time I've spent there. And even New York is a bit competitive, and I think Chicago is really about uplifting each other, making sure everyone's successful and can get to that next big thing, whether that is moving to New York, LA, or it's getting that record deal, getting onto that stage, whatever the case is. People want to work together to help each other out because they understand that it's all mutually beneficial versus it's helping out one singular individual. And I think Sophia explains it really well of just her experience in the Chicago music scene and how she's been uplifted here. And it was such a nice conversation with her. I really loved seeing Lincoln Hall in a new way and seeing different genres that I'm not used to covering in Chicago. She spent a lot of time doing R&B and jazz, and I just really love that she pays homage to that. She's a phenomenal performer. So when that album drops, and hopefully inevitably tours, you have to check her out. She's such a good performer. She is so soothing. She's incredible. And in the meantime, go listen to her on Spotify. She's got some great work out. She has an EP out. Go hype her up on social media. I really, really love chatting with her. And I loved our conversation about pop music especially and what that kind of means today. I think I've talked to other artists of this idea that, you know, like rock music was once pop music. It's something I've said many times, and it's so refreshing to hear that come out of someone else's mouth, kind of because you're like, oh, I'm not crazy. That's not just a trend I've observed. I think today people get under this impression that like pop was true in the 2000s, 2010s, when we had recession pop. That's real pop music, not what we have today. I think pop is always evolving. It just means whatever's popular. I know that's not a groundbreaking, revolutionary take, but I don't think it's fair for people to say they hate pop music. I have a shirt, and I stand by this. Hating pop music does not make you deep. That's the end of it. But I also think learning how to incorporate genres into pop music today is so, so important. So the use of R&B, the use of soul, the use of jazz, the use of rock. I could list so many buzzword genres here. I feel like a Spotify playlist. All in all, this has been an episode of On the Record. I'm Annaliese Baker, and I'll see you next time.